Ladies and gentlemen, my name is DeRiggs. Today I will be re-orating a speech which was done by President Richard M. Nixon on September 23rd, 1952. At that time in history, he was running for the office of Vice President of the United States of America. Now, he was accused of receiving illegally $18,000 from a group of his supporters. This speech was made to unveil the truth on the matter. Now, I ask you to lend me your ears as I re-deliver this speech, namely checkers. My fellow Americans, I come before you tonight as a candidate for the U.S. Vice Presidency and as a man whose honesty and integrity has been questioned. Now, the usual thing to do, the usual political thing to do when these charges are made against you is to either ignore them or to deny them without giving further details. To me, the office of the U.S. Vice Presidency is a great office, and I believe that the people have got to have confidence in the integrity of the men who are put to run for this office and who might obtain it. Now, I have a theory that when these charges are made against you, the best and only answer is to tell the truth. The best and only answer to a smear or to an honest misunderstanding of the facts is to tell the truth. I want my side of the case to be heard. And I'm sure you've heard the charge, or you've read it, that I, Senator Nixon, received $18,000 from a group of my supporters. And was that wrong? And let me say that it was wrong. Incidentally, I'm saying that it was wrong, not just illegal. Because it isn't a question of whether it was wrong, whether it was illegal, or legal, but was it morally wrong? I'm saying that it was morally wrong if any of that $18,000, those funds, went to me, Senator Nixon, for my personal use. And I'm saying that it would be morally wrong, or it was morally wrong, if any of those funds were secretly given or secretly handled. And I'm saying that it was morally wrong if any of the contributors received special favors for the contributions that they made. Not 1 cent of that $18,000 went to me, Senator Nixon, for my personal use. Every cent, every penny was spent on items which I believe should not be charged to the taxpayers of the United States. Well then, some of you will ask, what did you do with the funds then, Senator? Why did you have to have it? Well, there are some matters or some items which are not paid for by our government. And I can explain to you these items by asking you some questions. Now, do you think that when I or any other senator makes a speech, has that speech mailed and recorded, that the mailing and the printing of that speech should be charged to you, the taxpayers? Or do you think that when I or any other senator makes a trip to his home state, that the cost of that trip should be charged to you, the taxpayers of the United States? Or do you think that when a senator makes a radio broadcast or a television broadcast, that the price of those broadcasts should be charged to the taxpayers? I am sure that the answer will be the same as when I bring up this particular problem in other audiences. The answer is no. the taxpayers of the US should not be charged or should not be required to finance items which are not official business, but primarily political business. Well then, the question arises, how did you pay for it, Senator Nixon, and how did you do it legally? Well, I can answer this question. There are several ways in which that can be handled. There are several ways in which this matter is paid for by the US Congress and the US Senate. The first is to be a rich man. I am not a rich man, so I cannot use that method. The second is to put your wife on the payroll. I have never done that. Now let me say this. I know that this is not the last of the smears. In spite of my explanations, there will be others. Others have been made in the past. And the purpose of these smears is this: to silence me. Well, it's to silence me and to let me give up. Well, they do not know who they are dealing with. And as far as this matter is concerned, I will continue to fight. And now finally, I know that you are wondering whether I am going to stay on the Republican ticket or resign. I don't believe that I ought to quit, for I am not a quitter. Regardless of what happens, I will continue to campaign up and down America until we drive the communists and the crooks and those who defend them out of Washington.